Okay, we've talked a lot about the various concepts of impact and what we should be thinking around, parts of the equipment. Let's now start to deal with the practicalities of the shot. And this is where we kind of want to be thinking, one, about how we build our practice, and two, how we move those concepts onto that practice. So the first thing I would say, keep your number of balls relatively low. If you stood there with an entire practice bag of balls, eventually you'll hit a good shot. If you've only got 3 balls, say, you've got to chip it on, like pitch it on wherever the shot is. You're going to want to have an appreciation of, actually, that wasn't that great a shot, but it's finished not too far from the flag. You have an appreciation a bit more of the green. What's the green like? Have I picked up an appropriate landing point? And you're also kind of bringing your practice closer to what happens on the golf course. You know, you might still spend 2 hours, you know, the tour players where they're kind of spending hours practice, they don't hit that many balls per hour. Amateur club players hit far higher kind of rate of balls. They won't hit as many balls because if they've hit 50 balls in 30 minutes, they're going to be tired out, so they're going to go out. Tour player would still keep it, but again, keep it relatively low. You can start to get the feedback from the shot. The other thing you might not quite be able to see that I always put down is I use a rope. And that's got little knots every 3 foot. So I'm looking for how many shots in a row I can get inside a certain rope length. And that might be 12, 15 foot, could be 25 foot, you know, that might be an appropriate kind of ideal result. But again, if I can think of how many in a row I can do, under pressure, I can do that shot first time. So we talked about the kind of underarm throw ideas, the setup things. When we come into the shot, what we need to decide is, are we going to throw it all the way at the flag and try and have very little run, or are we going to be playing for more roll? So my first protocol is also, where's the flat spot? So this shot here, if I'm playing over towards that flag, there's not a lot of, there's a reasonable amount of slope going up there. So I've got to really, if I want to land it on a flat, consistent area, I want to be landing a metre or so onto that green. That then decides for me the loft I'm going to use. So I'm not really thinking about these as necessarily as chips and pitches. I'm just thinking, right, what loft will run the ball to the flag from that point? So it more becomes change the club to change the roll. So using that loft to slow or speed the ball up, rather than, oh, I'm going to stand and knock it up in the air, or I'm going to have it way back and chop it forward. I'm just using the same base action, this basic kind of underarm throw turning action, but I'm just varying my loft. So here, I'm going to be playing up to that flag. I'm using a loft I like to use a lot. I've got a 50-degree club in the bag for years and years. A traditional pitching wedge for some of you, a gap wedge these days. So for me, I think if I land that metre on, that should gently want to roll onto that green. So into that position, so I've got a little bit of shaft lead, ball relatively forward, and I'm knowing with the amount I'm going to roll out, it's not going to be an overly big swing. So I'm just going to be thinking of very little hand action, keeping a relatively shallow turn, and that's how the turn's from. I'm probably hitting a little bit high up on the club face there, it popped up on me a little bit. But again, you can see here the here I've got a kind of 56-degree club. So if this flag was right close into this green, same setup position, same length of speed, swing. I'm really trying to feel that turn forward. Same spot, not wanting to roll out as much, so I'm using the loft of the club to speed up the ball and slow the ball down. So I'm not really changing the shot if the flag's really close to me or if the flag's even further away. I'm just thinking, right, use that loft, that same basic action. So now we're looking at that more airborne variation. So probably the big thing that's going to come in if we're thinking of our underarm throw idea is that now it's going to be a bigger throw. So we're looking, I'm now playing in a flag. I've probably got 20 yards to the flat spot on the green. I'm not going to really change anything that I do apart from, again, now it's going to be the size of that throw. Now in doing that, there's different variations people will do in terms of what they feel and what actually happens. If you lump somebody like DeChambeau or Mickelson, both bought into the kind of Dave Pelt clock face idea. I mean, you've got, I think DeChambeau has how many minutes he swings the club back on a clock face, a particular loft to decide what the ball's going to do. But Mickelson has it just the basic kind of taking it back, whether it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock back through to the same amount. They're all really kind of good things. They give you a reference point, a decision to go for. So you tend to see when people are doing that, they might do one of two things. They might actually swing it to that point, or their effort to swing it to that point will vary the speed of the club. The key is what we're looking for is a difference in a little bit of the leverage, the speed of that club. It could be that you actually swing it back slower, and in swinging back slower you maintain the kind of width and you maintain your angle slightly. It might be that you actually swing it, all the time to the same sort of point, but you vary, it goes back a bit quicker and there's a bit more hand action. You swing it back a bit slower, there's a bit less. You might actually find that you vary those sizes of swings. What it's useful sometimes to do is to just decide which of those you feel as though you're doing. Are you increasing the speed or are you increasing the size? So again, it's a good thing sometimes like there where we did the chip or the lower shot where we hit a couple of different lengths. That's the good thing to do, is just kind of hit these landing points. So not always going up flag, look at a landing point. So here first of all, playing to this longer flag, or longer position. I've gone up in loft, but I'm going to keep to the same thoughts. Ball's a little bit forward, handle's pointing up. Now, let's make that a little bit bigger. But what I'm not doing, again, real key when you're practicing this, making sure that club remains clean every time. I know it's quite tough at the moment. But making sure that turning motion through, so I'm not getting the hands doing too much work. Nice little bit of grip off that. Very little turf contact. So I've got that ball jumping up. So even though I'm flighting this ball a bit further through the air now, I'm thinking the same sort of thing. So here, this is my 56-degree club. So it's a bit longer back. Turn through. So that's getting the grip slow down at the other end, because I know that this loft is going to slow the ball down. So I'm giving it a touch more speed. It could be that I'm going to hit that same landing point, but I want the ball to roll out the flags well back from that landing point. So now I've just gone down to my 50-degree club. Now, that same sort of motion, same starting position. Come up a little bit lower. It's rolling out that little bit more. So a lot of this is about experiment. So a lot of people practice maybe with one club when they're shipping. Make sure you've got two. I always think two relatively extremes, pitching wedge, lob